How's it going, Retro people? My name is Brad, this is Retro Style Spotlight, and this is your news, notes, history, and retro games to play for the week of August 30th, 2016. Last week's tutorial was all about the Super Game Boy and how to emulate it through RetroArch. It's a bit more convoluted compared to the rest of the systems through RetroArch, which is saying something, but it's rather easy to pull off, and Launchbox makes it a ton easier than you might assume. If you want to enjoy Game Boy games in a very specific fashion without needing to completely customize emulator settings, RetroArch overlays, and the like, then this Super Game Boy may be for you. I do want to quickly mention again that EmuMovies has a poll up for your favorite front end of 2016. If you like what we do here at Unbroken Software with Launchbox and Big Box, then let our friends over at EmuMovies know by voting for us in the poll. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. What a world we live in for video games. There are other games getting recreated or getting sequels in the vein of retro video games nowadays because game developers grew up on these games and love them dearly. Well, now ToeJam and Earl can be added to the list thanks to developer Human Nature Studios and publisher Adult Swim Games. The first ToeJam and Earl game only came out on the Sega Genesis, besides its PC re-release on Steam through Sega Classics, and it's surprisingly deeper than you might expect. It is very much an adventure game pared down for the console, in that there aren't a ton of puzzles to solve or an incredibly deep plot, but it's still tons of fun and co-op. The Kickstarter concluded early last year, earning about $500,000 while only needing about $400,000, and for those asking, no, that is not the amount of money they needed to completely make the game. That is just money that is supplemental to help them make the game. But this is a different conversation for a different time about Kickstarter ruining people's idea on how much it costs to make a game. And it has come a long way since then. Called ToeJam and Earl Back in the Groove, the game is very much like the first on Genesis and not like the increasingly worse sequels, while still adding in some fresh new gameplay mechanics that developers have picked up on in the last 20 years. Everything looks hand-drawn and really awesome. They expect the game to come out next year for PC and console, so if indie developers making games like Games of Yore is your thing, or in this case, direct sequels to Games of Yore, then check it out in the links below. Pokemon Go is a phenomenon in the modern gaming world, so much so that someone is demaking the game for the Dreamcast VMU? What? If you don't know what the VMU is, it is the virtual memory unit for the Dreamcast. This was the Dreamcast's memory unit with buttons and a screen that could double as a mini-game player for some games, and some games even displayed info on it while it was plugged into the controller. There's a little viewport where you can see the screen and everything. Well, Pokemon Go VMU is an interesting demake because why the hell not? There is a surprisingly large homebrew scene for the Dreamcast and specifically the VMU, which you might not have guessed existed. Because of the console's non-existent copy protection, this scene has lived on far longer than anyone could have guessed, primarily because it's so easy. All you need to do is get a Dreamcast, a VMU, and burn VMU demos to a disc and you're pretty much ready to go. The demake will take about a year because of the amount of Pokemon, so hopefully this still has legs by then. But this is still pretty insane to show off to some friends, irregardless of when it comes out. This month in 1986, the Taito Corporation releases Bubble Bobble to the arcades. Bubble Bobble is an arcade comical action platformer video game by Taito, first released in 1986 and later ported to numerous home computers and gaming consoles. The game, starring the twin bubble dragons Bub and Bob, tasks players with traveling through 100 stages, blowing and bursting bubbles, jumping on and off blown bubbles to navigate level obstacles, dodging and eliminating enemies, and collecting a variety of items, including some that carry power-ups and significant bonuses. For example, some wrapped candies allow Bub and Bob to move faster, blow bubbles faster, and blow bubbles at greater distances. Other items, such as umbrellas, allow the player to skip numerous levels, moving closer to the final level. The game became popular and led to a long series of sequels and spin-offs. The main goal of the game is to rescue Bub and Bob's girlfriends from the Cave of Monsters. It is an early example of an action game with multiple endings, which depend on the player's performance and discovery of secrets. The popularity of Bubble Bobble led Taito or its licensees to port the game to many home computers and video game consoles. Ports of the game were released for the Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum, Amiga, Atari ST, MSX2, Amstrad CPC, X68000, PC for DOS in 1989 and 1996, Apple II, FM Towns Marty, Master System, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Nintendo Entertainment System, Famicom Disk System, Game Gear, mobile phones, and Ultracade's Taito Arcade Classics. The Master System version is noted for having 200 levels, in effect the normal and super modes consecutively, and is considered one of the best conversions available. Of the original 8 and 16-bit ports, the NES and Game Boy ones were made by Taito themselves. Sega converted Bubble Bobble for the Master System, although this version was not released in North America. The Commodore 64 and Spectrum versions were published by UK-based Firebird Software, and most of the other computer ports by US-based Novalogic. The creator of Bubble Bobble, Fukio Mitsuji, went on to create other classics such as Rainbow Islands and Sylveon and Volified. He sadly passed away on December 11th, 2008. He will be fondly remembered for creating one of the best series in gaming. So that was Retro Style Spotlight for the week of August 30th, 2016. All of the relevant links to everything you heard in this edition of RSS will be in the description below. Remember, you can sign up for a Launchbox forum account to talk with us over there. If Launchbox has given you a beautiful library of games, then why not purchase a premium license of Launchbox for $20 to access Big Box, which is a controller and couch-oriented version of Launchbox. We also have our Launchbox Games database now available for users to contribute to. If you have a few favorite games that are lacking in metadata or media, head on over to the games page on the database and make your desired edits or add the games yourself. Jason, Kirsten, and I have a lot planned for our community, so if you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, we're doing a tutorial video every Friday, live developer sessions, Launchbox news, Q&As, RSS, and a ton more content in the future. Let us know what you think of RSS and any feedback you may have on it. My name is Brad, the link to my channel is below, and remember, freaks and geeks, to play more games, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day!